Welcome back. My name is Kelly Campbell, and I am the host of From Home to Hustle. Guys, this channel is all about encouraging other stay-at-home homeschool moms about finding your God-given business idea, not just being home with your family, but also stepping into the marketplace. Today's guest is Julie. Julie is a Jesus follower, a wife, a homeschooling mom to two young teens, and a healthcare disruptor. As a registered nurse and certified functional nutrition counselor, she experienced a major healthcare paradigm shift after healing herself from two autoimmune diseases. Now she helps women struggling with chronic health challenges reclaim their energy, confidence, and vitality through an ancestral nutrition and lifestyle approach rooted in functional health and gut healing. Originally from Central New York, Julie and her family spent time traveling in their RV, exploring national parks and God's creation before settling in upstate South Carolina, where they are building a homestead. She enjoys gardening, hiking, camping, serving her family, and morning coffee on the front porch. A lifelong learner, Julie is passionate about reviving traditional nutrition practices and using food as medicine to help other women learn to thrive. Julie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited for you to be here. So I'm reading your bio and I'm like, okay, I want to be your best friend. Because you love gardening. I love gardening, hiking, camping, serving your family the coffee. I mean, too bad we are several hundred miles apart.
I know. Yes.
I love it. Okay, so I'm reading your bio and I'm seeing you're homeschooling. Okay, you were dealing with
Mhm.
health issues and then you started a business out of it. Can you kind of take us through your journey of discovering your health issues that you had to walk through, and then how did that like propel you to like go, okay, I'm going to just start a business out of this?
Yeah. Well, so it was actually like back in the late 90s, I started having some symptoms of MS, and I was in nursing school at the time. And by 2006, fast forward a few years, I received like an official diagnosis of MS.
Mhm.
And, at that time, I was like planning a wedding, working in the cardiac cath lab at the hospital, which was like pretty high stress, on call a lot. It was not uncommon to get called in like the middle of the night and have to be back in at 7 for like your usual shift. And so that like lots of stress happening at the time between the job, the wedding planning, and I'm sure I was not eating well. And so that's like a perfect storm for
Yeah.
autoimmune disease to appear. So I was given like lots of meds and basically told like, hey, good luck. You'll learn to accommodate yourself in life. And that was so encouraging. So then, fast forward a few years to 2012, I had just had my second baby, and I started experiencing like intense joint pain, like especially my wrists. And like I remember like I could barely hold on to my baby at times because the pain was so intense. And
Oh gosh.
then I ended up with a lupus diagnosis shortly after that, and I was given more meds. And at that time, like every day was so defeating. I was just like pushing through and trying my best to like care for myself, care for my family while maintaining a career and a home. And, I was taking all these medications that just led to side effects that begged for more medications. And, these meds, they were like supposed to decrease inflammation and suppress my
Mhm.
immune system to like keep the flare ups down. But like I said, they only led to side effects, and that just led to like more havoc in my body. And so, overwhelm had set in, felt like I was failing everyone, like including myself, especially God. And my health, it was just such a barrier to being like the wife and mom that I wanted to be, and like the woman that I felt God was like calling me
Right.
to be. So, fast forward a few years again, and after a 2-week hospital stay, my little girl ended up on the verge of an autoimmune diagnosis. And I remember that pediatric rheumatologist said to me, well, mom, thank yourself for this. Like, she obviously got your genes. And she said that jokingly, but oh my gosh, if she only knew how those words just like
Right.
cut through my heart like a knife. And And that was kind of my breaking point. Like it hurt so much physically, mentally, and I did feel responsible and I did not want her to like experience like, what I was going through. And I knew it wasn't what God had planned for our lives. So, I
Right.
think that breaking point is often when it wasn't like I was not turning to the Lord for things, but like I really just said to him, like, I'm done. I give up. I don't know what else to do. And I remember feeling him say to me, like, hey, don't look back. Like, remember how I told Lot and his wife, like, don't look back. Like,
Yeah.
just look forward because I'm going to remove you from this. And I have great plans for you both. And I suddenly had like this peace that, like, it could only come from the Lord.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it really gave me some clarity and it helped me just quiet my mind. And then I felt him leading me to go back to basics. And I just started asking a lot of questions like, how did he create our bodies to work? Like, what
Mhm.
is happening in my body? What is happening to my little girl's body? Like, what's gone wrong? And eventually I just felt him leading me to study like nutrition and functional medicine. And so I went back to school, got my certification in functional medicine
Wow.
and or functional nutrition counseling. And so over time I was starting to heal. So was my daughter. And fast forward to today, like I'm super excited to say that I have been like completely medication and symptom free for like 4 years.
Wow.
And so that just led me on this mission to like share with other moms how to like live and thrive each day the way God intends. Like even in the midst of this, broken world that we live in.
Right. Right. That is incredible. Um, so you found something that you were struggling with. You decided to create, well, first of all, you did a lot of studying yourself, a lot
Yeah.
of like learning, and just how did you find the time to kind of like learn something new, even going back to school, learning something new and starting this business while homeschooling? Like walk us through this practically.
Yeah, it was challenging. I mean, I'm a pretty early riser, so I would get up early in the morning, have my coffee, my Jesus time, and then start my studying because then when the kids get up it's all over, right? So it doesn't matter how old they are. Even my kids right now are 13 and just about to be 15, and it's still like once they're up, that's it. Your time is gone. So it was like earlier in the morning and then later in the evening, when I found like some of that me time. And that is what I did with my me time, is spent my time just studying, studying, studying all of it.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm more of a morning person than I am like a night owl. I've always been like that. So I found that that
Yeah.
actually works for me too.
Hmm.
When I wrote my book, Deborah and the Motherly Anointing, I literally was writing it from like 5:30 in the morning to like 8 o'clock. And that
Yeah.
was just my time with the Lord. And it was my time to have that cup of coffee and just sit and write. Because, like you said, even though my kids are older, even when they were younger, once the kids are up, they're up. And
Yeah.
even though that they can still do things for themselves, like make breakfast, they will still wake up and go, "What's for breakfast? What do we have? We have nothing, Mom."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your
Nothing.
time
Yeah.
is divided, even though you're not 100% in mom mode, especially when your kids get older, your time is still divided.
Yes,
Your attention,
absolutely.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that makes a lot of sense. So if you're a morning riser, my advice is to like use that time diligently. I think Proverbs says like look at the ant, consider its ways. And
Mhm.
so for me, that was just early morning. That was whenever I had the most energy. That was whenever I was like fresh and ready to start my day.
Yeah, I agree because it is so easy to just get on your phone and start scrolling, right? And
Yeah.
like before 20 minutes have gone by and you're like, what did I just do? Like I did nothing productive. So I think it's definitely about creating, if you're a morning person
Mhm.
or if you're an evening person, doesn't matter, like creating those habits and sticking to it.
It is. I agree. And so so like that's actually good practical advice is that if you're finding yourself in a place that you're wanting to start your business, start carving out. Y'all have heard me say this if you've been following the channel now for a bit, that there has to be those pockets of time, those windows of opportunity to get something going and to give yourself grace because I bet Julie could actually like testify to this. It may be 2 hours today. It may be 30 minutes tomorrow that I have to work on something, but to use that time wisely, that it's
Yes.
actually quality over quantity at that point when you're
Yes.
starting something.
Yes. Yeah, and I think especially as homeschooling moms who are trying to do a business, like if you don't be so intentional with your time,
Hmm.
you won't get it done. And then there is that piece of that grace and forgiveness that you have to give yourself
Yeah.
and give your family, because sometimes I get into this where I'm like, guys, I asked you, just give me 30 minutes, and they're plenty old enough to do that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always happen. Things come up, and you have to be able to say, that's okay, and this is where the Lord has me right now, and that's okay.
Oh, that's really good. In fact, that's, again, I keep going back to that word practical because things have to be practical when
Yeah.
you're balancing so much and you're going to have to give yourself a lot of grace. When the kids were little and I was starting my business, I would have what we called like blanket time or room time where they would go in their room and they would learn to just entertain themselves or play with each other and things like that. And now that they're older, it's like, okay, guys, I need this time. And so you are training them as well as starting something or building something. And so
Mm,
there's a lot of grace that needs to be given
yeah.
and a lot of guilt that needs to go to that that they're not getting your full attention or that you feel like that they're getting put on the back burner or whatever. And so, but I just want to debunk the guilt because when God's calling you to something, he's going to take care of the rest of the pie.
Oh, I so agree with that, Kelly. That's probably, I would say, one of my biggest challenges is
Mhm.
feeling like I am not giving my kids enough. Like,
Yeah,
okay, the Lord called me to homeschool. I'm doing that. I'm doing what, my best at everything in life for my family. Um, and then I feel almost selfish sometimes that I take time to do this. But you're right. Like, you have to remind yourself, like, if the Lord has called you to it, then it's okay. Like, and it's okay if your kids wait a bit. It's okay, that things don't always go as planned. Like,
right.
I would say that's one of my biggest challenges is feeling like I am not giving them enough. And
Yeah.
it's just not true. Like, the
Hmm.
Lord equips us to give what we should be giving each day. And as long as we're intentional, it's all good. It's all okay.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, those are challenges that I've faced. I've been, I started my business about 10 years ago, so like I've been doing this and even now I still have those days where I'm just like, oh, like I feel like that I'm neglecting them or I feel like they're not getting the
Yes.
best of me or whatever. And I just love that scripture that says like his mercies are new every morning.
Mm-hmm.
So every morning that I wake up, that I feel like that the day before, I'm like, okay, Lord, your mercies are new this morning. I can walk in your mercy and extend that to my family as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Really
Yes.
good. It's really
Yeah.
good. So are you a counselor or do you coach?
It's but both
Okay.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
Good.
of a bit of both. Like, it's, coaching on lifestyle habits, nutrition habits, but it's also counseling in that
Mhm.
realm as well, because a lot of people have great intentions. They think they know what to do, but how to do it is a whole different story, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I feel like I dabble in a little bit of both.
I could see that. Yeah, whenever I was reading it, I was thinking you were more of like a health coach, and then it said counselor, and I was like, oh, but I could see you totally it intermingling and doing both.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so how important would you say is having like a homeschool schedule to like implement to actually start something?
Yeah, we hold our schedule pretty loosely. I
Mhm.
think so. In my heart, I'm very organized. Like, my brain, I need organization in my life, but
Yes.
I think God designed us that way, right? Like, he was very orderly with how he created um, the earth, and all, the days of creation were all very much in order, right? And so I think we're all wired like that a little bit, and I can tend to get a little type A
Yes.
about it. But that again is like where that grace comes in. And so I think it's important to have a schedule,
Mhm.
because if you don't, you probably aren't accomplishing much, right? You're here, you're there, you're
Right.
doing little bits of things here and there. But it's that again, going back to that intentionality of like, yes, having a schedule.
Mhm.
And so, in our house, we have, again, intention to sit down by 9 a.m. every morning and open our Bibles, and we're doing a study as a family. My husband works from home, which is nice because we can take that time and work our schedules around a little bit to do that at 9 a.m. It doesn't always happen. He might end up with a call, or I might end up with something, but I would say 2 to 3 days of the week we are able to accomplish that. So having that intentional schedule
Mhm.
and times, but yet having that grace to say, okay, this didn't work out today, that's okay.
Yes, yes. I've learned too, like learning like how do you put this into words? Like learning to balance our my capacity for the day, you know?
Yeah.
Like for example, like especially when the kids were a lot younger, like I have several in high school now and everything, so they're kind of like owning their own curriculum. But when they were a little bit younger, we would have what we call TTT, which was table talk time. And every morning after breakfast, it was me and the kids sitting around the table and then just, like getting to the word. And then we would do reading together and just whatever we could together
Yeah.
that kept us at the table together. And then I started realizing that if I had like a big work project that needed to be done in the afternoon, I knew I couldn't give myself like fully like that from start to finish in the day. And maybe like it was me getting older, maybe it was like hormones, whatever, but I knew that I would fizzle out by at least by 1 or 2 o'clock. And so I had to start going, okay, if I have this work thing going on in the afternoon, I know that I have to plan my morning accordingly, and
Mm.
then vice versa. Sometimes it was like some things were non-negotiable in my homeschool and in my teaching the kids. And so some of the things in the afternoon had to like either be let go or just learn to balance those. And so have you ever like experienced that, like you're like learning to balance those type of things?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when my kids were younger. So we started homeschooling in 2017. And back then I was not fully, I was still sick some days. And so that I had to give myself a lot of grace on those days to say, like, that's okay, that we didn't accomplish math today, or, and so that schedule was often just gone out the
Yeah.
window.
Yeah.
It was not easy.
Yes.
What was your question? I think I
Yeah,
lost your question in my brain as I was thinking back.
that was me too, is like I was saying about me fizzling out and everything.
Oh yeah.
I would just be depleted. Like I was exhausted by like one or
Yes.
two in the day. And I don't know if
Mhm.
it's because I got up so early, but I go to bed pretty early too. But but I did get all that checked and everything. And so definitely, get your levels checked. But yes, learning to let go, okay, I know that this is gonna exhaust me. And so where was I needed the most?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It's prioritizing each day, and each day is going to look different. Like that's part
Yeah.
of it in a homeschool, right? Like there's the public schools around here this week are on break, which is great. Our co-op isn't, but we're still trying to work in some time with friends that
Mhm.
perhaps do go to public school, or even some of the co-ops that are on break.
Yeah.
And so we did no schoolwork today, and now here I am chatting with you, which is great,
Awesome.
and
Yep.
I always bring myself back to like the Lord has my kids. Like they
Mhm.
ultimately are not mine. And
Yeah.
he has equipped me to do what I do every day.
Yeah.
And it and that helps you get rid, I think, of that like guilt feeling
Oh
of, well, we
yeah.
did no math today,
Yeah.
and what of it, right? And
Exactly.
those my kids are his, not mine. And my job is to do the best I can with them. And if I feel like if I'm doing that every day, I'm good.
That's really good. Okay, so I was going to ask you, let's talk about like getting your business up and running. Did you have to put a lot of effort into that and getting it like marketed and getting it started, finding a name? Like, how did all that, like, just walk us through that process?
Yeah. Well, I feel like it was a process. Yeah, process is a good word. So, I've had a lot of challenges because I'm not a business person. I've had no formal business training. I literally have been learning as I go,
Mhm.
and with that comes many failures. And
Yeah.
failure's like our best teacher, though, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of trial and error for me. But what I did do is invest in some business coaching. And, I do highly recommend that to anyone who is starting from scratch. Like,
Mhm.
a big mistake I think I made, though, is because I was afraid to invest in what I was doing. And when I look back, I made a mistake, I think, of going with like the cheapest packages with these business coaches because, if you want to get up and off the ground quickly, like, and have a hand holding experience, if you need that,
Mhm.
you have to invest, right? Like, you can't look at it as spending money. You have to look at it as investing.
Yes.
Um, and it really, I think like you got to go all out, like if you need
Right.
it. So I've now pieced together like 3 different programs, and I probably have spent just as much money as I would have if I had just gone all in with the first one.
Yeah.
Um,
That,
but every mistake, like every setback, it's just, you got to look at it as fuel for moving forward and keep going. And so with every mistake, every setback, like you got to look at it as fuel for just moving forward. And if the Lord has you on this path, like
Mhm.
you are in the correct lane, and you have to be confident in that.
Oh yeah, that's so true. So how important is it to maintain your time with the Lord, homeschooling? I mean, balancing it all. I mean, because to me it's like if he's the one giving it to us,
Mhm.
we have to steward it well. So
Yeah.
like how important is that to really just continue to seek the Lord over all this?
I think if you are not doing that on a daily basis,
Mhm.
you're not going to be where you want to be, and you're certainly not going to be where he wants you to be, like, because it is all a learning process, right?
Yes.
um and I do find that there's days when I'm not seeking him as much as I should be about my business, and I definitely feel the setbacks. I mean, because there's no better place to be than in his will, right?
It's true.
And there's been times when I have struggled within my business and been like, am I not in his will? Like, does he not want me
Yeah.
doing this? Is this Satan trying to sabotage me? Or is it God trying to tell me, like, this isn't where I want you right now?
Yeah.
But every time things like that happen, like, he will bring me back, but I have to seek him first. I have to
Yeah.
seek him out in that and say, Lord, I feel like I'm doing what you want me to do. Like, you got to help me here and let me
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
give me that
Yeah.
like assurance that I am in your will right now.
Yes.
And he always does.
Yes, you're right. He always does. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
can you imagine like us as mothers, like giving our kid like a gift and then just not even showing them how to use it and how to properly like get
Yeah.
the best out of it? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
same thing when he gives you the ability to be able to be home, or he gives you this creative idea. I mean, he's not just gonna be like, okay. I mean, there is some work that we have to do, because it says like
Yeah.
it's for the glory of God to conceal a matter, but it's for the glory of kings to search it out.
Mm,
Well, we are kings in the earth, and so it is for our glory to like search out a matter, but he's not just gonna leave us searching. He's going to continue to reveal his goodness and all that.
yeah.
So
Amen.
one last question. What is one piece of advice you would give to moms who want to start their own business or coaching business or counseling business?
Mm. So I think the key to success, like almost in any business really, is figuring out what your calling is. Like,
Yes.
again, being in line with that will that he,
Right.
what he has for you. And for me, I've always looked at it like this little secret formula that includes 3 things. So number one is, what are your God-given gifts and talents? Like,
Good.
what are those things that he has given you that he is calling you to use?
Hmm.
Number two, like, what are your passions? Like, what lights you up? Like,
Hmm.
helping people in this health and wellness realm, like, lights me up. And number three is like, how can you fulfill a need in this world or solve a problem that you see in this world? So it's kind of taking like your gifts and your talents plus your passions, plus fulfilling a need in this world, and that equals your calling. I think that is like one of the best ways to figure out like where God wants you. And if you feel Him calling you to it, sort out those things in your brain and just and feel. I think it'll help you feel like if you're on the right path. And
Mhm.
I know there's so many moms who are like, okay, my talents right now are changing diapers and sweeping Cheerios. And, but if the Lord is putting that spark in your heart to
Mhm.
start something, to do something,
Mhm.
lean into that. And maybe
Yeah.
his answer is not right now. Maybe it's
Yeah.
going to be later. Um,
Yeah.
but if you feel that, you have to lean into it and
Right.
figure it out. And I
Yeah.
think those three things
Exactly.
can help you.
Yeah,
And
that's
also,
good.
oh, I was just
Oh,
going to say
go.
real quick, like turn opposition into opportunity. Like for
Yes.
me, I had a lot of opposition and I was like, I turn this into opportunity. Like there's always purpose in your challenges, in any suffering, if you're a child of God, right? So
That's really good.
when you feel that opposition, when you're struggling, like
Yeah.
ask the Lord and,
That's
he
really
will turn it into opportunity for you.
That's really good. That is so solid right there. Julie didn't know I was going to say this, but as she was giving you the 3 points, if you were, kind of considering starting a business and you don't know what your niche is, you don't know what God's called you or whatever, you can check out my website, lookslikehomewithkelly.com, and I actually offer one-on-one coaching to help you find your niche to get you started. Just like the scripture says, it says, I planted, Apollos water, and God caused the growth. I just want to
Mm,
cause I just want to plant seeds of creativity in you and see what God has and discover that. So that is an option. Okay, Julie, we're almost out of time. I have
yeah,
one last question for you. Is your
sure.
house messy or clean right now?
How about in between?
That's a great answer.
I have this thing where I make my kids pick up everything every night. So that helps with the clutter,
Yeah.
right? Like the clutter isn't so much there, but definitely need to sweep that kitchen.
That is so great. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Julie, thank you so much for being a
Thank
guest on the
you.
show. Guys, if you have any questions, I'll put all of Julie's information in the note subscription, not in the note subscription, in the description. And I hope you guys have a wonderfully blessed day. Remember, let your light shine before all men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Until next time, be blessed.